Welcome back to my read aloud for the book Inside Out by Terry Truman. Today we're going to be reading chapters 8, 9, and 10. So while we're reading today, we are going to focus on a new strategy which asks us to consider how group dynamics or powerful individuals may influence a place. So at the coffee shop, there's obviously a pretty serious situation going on. There's a hostages, there are two boys with guns. This is serious. So one thing that I noticed right from the beginning that I'm going to go ahead and notate here is that when the robbery originally started, the group was mostly quiet. They seemed really scared. The only person who really talked a bunch was Zach, and that was really discouraged. So that being said, since Zach has been talking so much and he hasn't gotten shot, I think that Zach has had a powerful effect on the group of hostages. Um, the more he talks, the more they act bolder. For example, at one point, the fat suit guy who was quiet unless they spoke to him before, now he's saying to the robbers, "You can't keep us here." Additionally, the store clerk, he tried to grab for the knife and was disrespectful, I suppose, when confronted about the knife situation. So, he trying to do hero sort of things. Maybe he wouldn't have been so bold. Maybe he would have continued to keep quiet if he didn't feel a little bit safer by making these moves because of how they are treating Zach while he keeps talking. So while I'm reading the next few chapters, we're going to be continuing to think about how the group is reacting to Zach or other ways that the group kind of acts in similar ways that might be interesting to think about for our jots for our notebook. We do want to remember that we had a prediction that we're going to be looking for. We were predicting that Zach's mom had a plan to deliver Zach some medicine that he needs because the cops are letting her call the coffee shop. And that's where we left off last time. We left off with phone ringing and it was Zach's mom calling for him. So we're going to start with their conversation. Before we hear their conversation, we have some additional notes from Dr. Curtis. It says, patient discharge note from Dr. Cal Curtis regarding Zach Wasted. Zach states that the Wong Gong words are still with him, but that they aren't as loud or as frequent as they previously were. He is well medicated and ready for a trial release to his family. An excellent, caring environment. One concern. Zach states that when he's late with his meds, he feels, quote, weird in every inch of his body. In schizophrenic adolescent males, this kind of sensation is frequently associated with a high suicide risk. Okay, back to the story. It says, "Hi, Mom," I say, and my mom starts to cry. "Don't cry, Mom. I'm sorry I'm late, but Frosty says I gotta stay." I say, "I'm sorry," again, because I know that's what normal people say when somebody is crying, and because saying it always makes my mom feel better. "Are you okay, honey?" Mom asks. She's stopped crying, so the "I'm sorry" worked. "Yes," I answer, "but I'm kind of hungry." "Okay, honey," Mom says. Then she asks, "Zach, are you hurt at all?" I think about it. "My butt's kind of sore," I say. Mom asks real quick, "What did they do to you, Zach?" "The floor is hard and kind of cold." "Oh," Mom says and asks, "Are the guys who are holding you being mean?" "No." I say, although I'm not exactly sure if that's true or not. I mean, having the guns pointed at us is kind of mean, I suppose, but Frosty hasn't called me wastoid once, and Stormy just seems to do what Frosty says. So I don't know for sure. Mom says, I've got to go, honey. The police need the phone, but I'm waiting here for you, okay? The police can't let me come in, but I'm waiting right here, Zach, okay? Okay, Mom, I say. Mom asks, is there anything else you need? Is there anything we can get for you? I think about it for just a second. I look at the zombie girl again. She makes me nervous. Yeah, I answered. I need my medicine. Mom says, I know, honey, I know. The police can't let me come in, but I have it right here. Chapter 9 begins with a letter from Dr. Calvin Curtis to Miss Emily Wasted, mother of Zachary Wasted. Many times patients like Zach believe that it is the medicine that makes them feel poorly. They lower their dosage without telling us. At first, things seem sometimes to do better. Patients often believe that maybe they will be all right without their medicine. This is an extremely dangerous misconception. Back to the story. After I hang up, I think more about my medicine. I'm really worrying that Dirtbag and Rat might show up soon. That maybe they can't get through the cops. Maybe. I hate it when they come. It's the worst. Lots of times I'm a little late with my meds and nothing bad happens. But when I'm under stress, well, sometimes I don't even want to think about it. Listen up, Frosty says. I want to let you guys out of here. This wasn't supposed to go down like this, and this offer from the cops sounds like our best chance, but I don't trust the police. We have our reasons for doing this, and they're important, so don't think we won't do what we have to do. But if there's some way we can get you guys out of here without screwing us up, we'll do it. The nice smelling old lady sitting next to me says, you might think you have a good reason, but it's still wrong. Her words sound even meaner than before. Frosty looks at her and quietly says, you wouldn't understand, lady. But the old lady keeps talking. Whatever's wrong in your lives, do you think it will help for you to be going to jail? Do you think it will help anything if the police gun you down like a couple of dogs? Her voice is like she's swearing, even though her words aren't swear words. The older lady touches her friend's arm and says, Ethel, please. The mean lady says, well, they deserve whatever happens to them. They're punks. The nicer lady says, they're just boys whose mother is ill. Stormy asked, how'd you know that? The nice old lady looks up at him and says, I heard you mention something about it. That's right, isn't it? Are you boys doing this to try and help your mother? Stormy starts to answer, yes, ma'am, we need money to. Frosty interrupts Stormy. Shut up, he says. Listen, lady, no offense, but it's a private family matter. The nice lady looks at Frosty and nods. She turns to her mom, her mean friend, and says, they're just boys, Ethel. Frosty looks at the ladies and takes a deep breath. He doesn't say anything. He looks pissed. Why did the old lady have to say the thing about them being gunned down? I don't think that helped. Stormy asks Frosty, we gonna let him go? Frosty nods. I guess so. We're gonna have to do something or the cops are gonna bust in here sooner or later. What if the cops are lying about everything? Frosty answers, we'll have to take our chances. Stormy yells, no! If we let everybody go, they'll just come in and shoot us, won't they? This, that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna be dead. Mom's gonna have nobody. Great idea you had here, genius. Frosty, Frosty screams, shut up, Joey. I'm gonna figure something out. But we gotta let these people go or it'll be worse. Just stop bitching. As Frosty talks, his voice gets higher and higher, and for the first time since they came in, he sounds like he might cry. He might start crying. Frosty yells, "Maybe we should just shoot everybody and kill ourselves. What is the point of anything? What is the difference?" He's waving his gun around while he's yelling. Everybody's quiet. The store guy still has his arm around the girl's shoulders. If he's not careful, she could turn him into a zombie too. Nobody takes a breath. Frosty finally says, "We'll let everyone go, but one person. Somebody's got to stay," and Fat Suit interrupts. "Keep the loony," looking over at me. Without planning it or thinking it through, I say, "Sure, I'll stay with you guys." Frosty and Stormy just look at me like they don't understand, so I explain. "If you're worried about being in here by yourselves, I'll stay." Frosty says, "Jesus Christ, Zach, that's all we need to be stuck in here with you for the rest of our lives." The fat suit lets out a loud laugh, but when he does, Frosty glares at him and the fat suit stops laughing right away. Frosty turns to me and says, "I don't really know if it would even help for you to stay here, Zach." I don't know either, but they look really scared. I remember what being scared used to feel like, so I say, "If you'd let me call Dr. Kurt, he'll make the police let me have my medication. Then I can stay. If I don't get my medicine pretty soon, Dirtbag and Rat will come." Frosty looks confused. "Who the hell are they? Friends of yours?" I answer, "No, no way. But listen, Dr. Kurt—" Frosty interrupts me again. "Who is this Dr. Kurt guy?" "He's my doctor," I say. Frosty asks, "Do you trust him?" I do trust him. He's my friend. So I answer, "Yeah, he helps me." Frosty asks, "Do you think he'd help us too?" I ask, "Do you need medicine?" Story mumbles, "What a moron." He says to Frosty, "You can't trust this idiot." Ignoring Stormy, Frosty says, "No, Zach, we don't need medicine. But do you think your doctor would talk to the cops? Doctors take oaths to help people, right? Do you think that maybe he'd look at what they write and help us get out of here?" I don't understand Frosty's question, but I think Zombie Girl has a new friend. Skinny Suit just keeps staring at the floor like a zombie now, too. I need to talk to Dr. Kurt, and I need my medication now. The only thing I can think to answer Frosty is, all I can tell you is that Dr. Kurt always helps me. Frosty thinks for a second, then shrugs and says, "That's good enough for me. Let's call him up." Chapter 10 begins with a letter from Miss Emily Wasted to Dr. Cal Curtis. In it, she writes, "Thanks for your concerns. Zach seems to have a good first week, but now, after 2 weeks, he says there are two new, meaner voices bothering him. What does this mean? As you suspected, Zach may not be taking his medicine properly. I found several pills in his wastebasket." Back to the story. Dr. Curtis picks up his phone after the second ring. "Cal Curtis," he answers. I say, "Hi, Dr. Kurt. It's Zach." "Hi, Zach. How are you?" he asks. "I'm good," I say. "Everything's going all right?" he asks. "Your mom's okay?" "Oh, yes," I say. It occurs to me that I should say thanks for asking. That's what a normal person would say. So I say, "Thanks for asking." I should explain to Dr. Kurt why I'm phoning, but I can't think of how to start. Finally, I say, "I'm glad you were at your phone, at your office and stuff, I mean." Dr. Kurt says, "Yes, it's nice to hear from you again too, Zach. But I've got a patient coming in just a few minutes, so I don't have much time to talk now." "Okay," I say. "Well, it's been nice talking to you." I'm about to hang up the phone when Frosty grabs it from me and says, "Hello?" He says into the phone, My name is Alan Mender, and Zach is here, and my brother Joey and me. He said we could trust you. We're in a hell of a lot of trouble. Aha, now I know their real names, Alan and Joey. I liked Frosty and Stormy better. There's a pause, a long one. Dr. Kurt is saying something to Frosty. I mean, Alan. Finally, Alan says, Yes, Dr. Curtis, I know your first concern is Zach. I'll put him on the line, but listen to him, okay? He hands the phone to me. Tell him what's going on here, Zach. I take the phone and try to think of the words before I can say anything. Dr. Kurt asks, Are you all right, Zach? What's going on in there, and who is that? He sounds pretty shaky. I say, He's real, Dr. Kurt. I know, Zach. Yes, he's real. I can't even think how to start, so I just say the things that are in my brain. I guess his real name's Alan. I think I wish his name was Frosty. It's such a cool name. I wish his name was Frosty and mine was Stormy, not Wastoid. I wish. Okay, Zach. It's okay, Dr. Kurt says. Can you explain what's happening? Now the words just tumble out of my mouth. He has a gun and it's real. His brother Joey has one too, and he shot the drawer and the little girl peed her pants. I mean her dress. I can't go get my medicine or any maple bars because the police would shoot us. But there's two guns and two brothers, and everybody gets to leave if you'll come here and bring my medicine. 'Cause I'm gonna stay until you help us, okay? Dr. Curtis says, You bet, Zach. He pauses a second, then asks, Can I speak to Alan, the boy you spoke to just a few moments ago? Can I speak to him again? I say, Sure, and I wait for Dr. Curtis to say something more. Finally, Dr. Kurt asks, Zach, would you give Alan the phone, please, now? I say, Oh, yeah, sure. I turn to Alan. He wants to talk to you again. Alan takes the phone and listens for a few moments, then says, I don't want to use the word hostages, but yeah, 9 counting Zach. Alan pauses for a few seconds, listening to Dr. Kurt. Now Alan explains about the police and the old ladies and the suits and everything else. Alan finally says, The cops say they'll put a deal in writing, but we don't know if we can trust them. The Zach kid? Alan looks at me. He says you can help us, mister. To be honest, we're pretty scared, and right now, just want to get out of here and out of as much trouble as we can. Zach says we can trust you. I don't think Zach lies much, you know? Like, it doesn't seem like he knows how. So, can you help us? Alan listens for a few seconds, then says, Okay, thank you so much, sir. One more thing, will you call our mom, Louise Mender, before the cops find out who we are? They'll scare her. We don't want her to see this on the news. Alan listens some more, then tells Dr. Kurt his mom's phone number, then says, Okay, Dr. Kurt, thanks. Alan hangs up the phone and turns to me. Okay, he's coming here and he's bringing your medicine. Are you really willing to wait here with us until he gets here? Sure, I say. Alan looks at me kind of funny and asks, Aren't you scared, man? Aren't you the least bit afraid of dying? I tell him the truth. No, but I don't tell him the whole truth. That dying for a long time now has been the least of my worries. Alan takes a deep breath and pauses, looking around at everyone. Even though Alan's seen Pulp Fiction, I don't think he's looking at us like he wants to shoot us. Then again, how would I know for sure? Okay, so we're going to stop there for today. But while I was reading, I picked up on a couple of things. First of all, about how Zach is affecting the group. I also noticed that the older lady, Ethel, is getting bolder also because she started yelling at the robbers and telling them that they were doing wrong and that it wasn't going to fix any problems that they have in their lives and that they're probably going to go to jail. So I just wrote that down because previously no one has like yelled at them basically at all. Right near the end here of the part that I read, I also noticed something else. Other members of the group seem to be feeling kind of defeated ever since the attempt at grabbing the knife didn't work. Once the gun was shot, if you remember, the female employee who works there, she threw up right away. And ever since then, Zach has been describing her as a zombie, which we know that Zach has had an episode where he thought people, just random people he met, were all zombies. Okay. She looks like a zombie because she's just staring at the floor and not really doing anything. But we also found out, according to Zach, that another person, the skinny suit, is also starting to stare at the floor like a zombie. So I feel like this defeatist sort of posture is kind of catching on. So some of the people in the group are getting stronger and bolder, not worrying as much about the boys with the guns. And other people in the group have kind of started to basically ignore Zach and focus in on themselves and their own worries. Um, all right, I think that says a lot about the mood of what's happening in the story. Um, I feel like some people are starting to notice and feel bad for the boys also, and some are just worried about themselves, like the fat suit who called out and said, "Let the loon stay here," talking about Zach calling him a loon. I guess we're going to see what happens with the hostage negotiations and the release in the next chapter. Based on our prediction earlier, we need to confirm if that happened. So one thing we do know is that his mom just wanted to check in on him. Um, but it looks like Dr. Curtis will maybe be able to help him, bring him some medicine. So that's good. After reading this section, I really I believe that Rat and Dirtbag are going to show up because Zach has been worried about them for a while, and now he's like, it's been more than an hour, I think, since he skipped his medication. Also, it said it's possible that maybe he's not taking as much of his medication as he's supposed to, or he's not taking it on time, according to his mother's letter to his psychologist. So potentially his body is ready to start acting a little bit less normal than even he's showing us that he could be. So I think they're going to show up. I think they're going to cause problems, but I guess we will have to see next time. That's going to be it today for my read aloud of Inside Out by Terry Truman. Please get in touch if you have any questions, guys. Thanks. Bye bye.